Well, welcome back to Northern Superior Resources channel, Forging the Future in Gold. And joining to discuss the properties, some recent financing, and so much more, we have Simon, the CEO, as always. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
Always a pleasure to get you back on. So recently you raised $8 million with strong insider participation. Do you want to talk about this financing, what it means for the company?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, as always, we are always raising capital on good terms and at the right time. We have very, very strong shareholders and partners. But to your point, we just raised $8 million, which was well received. We actually increased the size, and this was led by Cormark Securities as our actually sole underwriter. And out of the $8 million, $1 million came from us, the management and board. And now we stand at about 25% ownership as insiders. So we're pretty motivated here.
Yeah, definitely appreciate the insight on it and kind of just looking at what's going on with the properties themselves. Do you want to review the strategy in Quebec where you've been kind of consolidating one of your camps?
Yeah, I mean, that has been the core of the strategy of the company in recent years. We've been consolidating the Chibougamau Gold Camp in Quebec. And just if you allow me to put things into perspective a little bit, because we think that the Chibougamau Gold Camp is just on the verge of becoming a major gold destination. So we were able, in recent years, that was a difficult time for the junior mining space. We were able to take opportunity of that downturn to consolidate all of the right assets. And that Chibougamau Gold Camp, right now, if you look at just the major assets that are there, you're already looking at a camp that has about 10 million ounces. And with the work that we're about to do, with the money we raised and the work that the other company involved in the camp, which is IAMGOLD, they are already active at three of their properties in the area. I feel pretty strongly that it's not going to take very long, and that camp will be above 15 million ounces. And that would put the Chibougamau Gold Camp in the same category as, the camp of Guyana, where you have, G2, where you have Reunion, where you have Aris, Omai, same category as Finland, where you have Agnico, Rupert has been doing well. Same category or close to part of Yukon, right? Where that's been a great gold destination as well, where you have Western, White Gold, and others. And that's the point I'm making, is that gold works like that. When you have the emergence of a camp, then everybody benefits from infrastructure being put in place, and capital tends to flow into those destinations. And even in recent years, that was pretty bad for the market. Those places, you had some stocks that performed very, very well. Well, the Chibougamau Gold Camp is just about to join these guys as in size, but also all the Chibougamau Gold Camp, all these deposits are much closer to one another than in any of these other camps. So if it's all under one roof, um, then all these deposits can feed the same mill. And if I tell you we found a 10 million ounces deposit going to 15 million ounces deposit, I'd be at the front page of the Globe and Mail right now, right? So that's the idea and why it is so important to put this together. And we were able to take a leadership role into putting it together. So just 3 years ago, all these deposits of that camp were owned in total by 5 companies. Now there's only two. There's us and there's IAMGOLD, right? So we are now cashed up. We're going to be advancing and adding ounces pretty cheaply. And IAMGOLD is also now turning its attention. I mean, obviously, it's remaining almost exclusively focused on Côté, which they're putting into production in Ontario. But they've been doing a phenomenal job there. I think they've taken a lot of people by surprise, and their stock price is acting better. And now they are turning their attention, and now they're getting active in Chibougamau, which appears to be their next destination for growth. And not only are they spending a bit of capital and resources to advance those deposits, but they also made the acquisition of Vanstar recently, which was their JV partner on their main asset in the area, being Milligan. So we are core. We believe we are central to that camp. Our main asset being Philibert, which is only 9 kilometers away from IAMGOLD's Nelligan project. And I always like to point out that Philibert has a higher grade. So Philibert has the potential to lower the payback period of the whole camp if you start by mining that first, right? And we also have great metallurgy. So the recovery is around 93 to 95%. So it's an uncomplicated metallurgy, so that helps as well. So there's a lot of reason that leads me to believe that within 18 to 24 months that camp is going to be red hot and it'll become a major gold destination. And I mentioned that IAMGOLD bought Vanstar, right, recently. Well, they paid about $40 per ounce in the ground for Vanstar. National Bank even published a research note recently about these assets, saying that this camp should be valued at about $100 per ounce in the ground, which is not a stretch. I mean, a camp that's viable can easily be worth $100 per ounce in the ground. That's what you see in Val-d'Or. So National Bank says it's worth $100 per ounce in the ground. IAMGOLD bought Vanstar at $40 per ounce in the ground. Northern Superior right now, we're valued about $20 per ounce in the ground. And we expect to be able to find new ounces with the money we just raised below $10 per ounce in the ground. So it's very, very accretive work that we're going to be doing. But we're getting pretty excited about this whole camp right now.
No, let's look forward to it. And it sounds, from a value setup, pretty intriguing. And anecdotally, you recently did a spinoff of your Ontario assets. You want to give a little bit of insight on the other side of the border there, the
Yeah,
province?
absolutely. So, because of the opportunity in Quebec, Northern Superior's primary focus became the Chibougamau Gold Camp. But the TPK project that we had in Ontario is not an asset you put on the back burner. It is not. And, the TPK project is quasi famous. You've got a lot of people that are extremely passionate by it. It is the largest gold in till anomaly in North America. And same system, the same way Rainy River was discovered, and that's now a mine. So it's a huge potential discovery that lays there at TPK. It's about finding the source of that golden till anomaly. We believe we feel pretty confident that we've identified the source. I mean, historical drill hole that did bring attention. 25 grams over 13 meters came out of that. I'm not the one who usually gets excited about soil samples and boulder, but there's a very famous boulder that was found on this property of 727 grams gold. You thought it was going to say silver, but no, 727 grams of gold in a boulder. So there's really some very exciting indications there. So we wanted to have a company that was going to be focused on this with its own management team, its own approach, its own capital. So when we spun out this company, we listed it and we raised $5.2 million. So the company is very well capitalized, and it's a company that's taking a different approach. It's a company that is oriented towards sustainability, local acceptability, and partnerships with the local communities and the First Nation, because that's what Northern Ontario is all about. So if you look at the approach that we're taking, the CEO of the company is a gentleman by the name of Kyle Stanfield, who's a sustainability expert. He's the guy who permitted Musselwhite. He's the guy who permitted Rainy River that I was talking about earlier. And he has a great understanding of the process and what the local communities actually are looking for, their needs. And we want to take an inclusive approach so that everybody, including the local communities, can really benefit socially and economically with the success of the company going forward. We also brought a chairman, Mr. John Kim Bell, who is Indigenous himself, but extremely well accomplished. Uh, he had a very colorful career. I mean, I get it. He has a nice Wikipedia page, but in a nutshell, I mean, he was a conductor at the orchestra, became a conductor on Broadway for different musicals. He ended up touring the world with different rock bands, like the Bee Gees come to mind and all that. Then he moved to the corporate world. He was managing a relationship with First Nations for Hatch, Glencore, for Brookfield. He did a lot of philanthropy work as well, where he sent a lot of Indigenous youth to college. So very, very colorful and well accomplished. And the idea here is simple: is to take the right approach for Ontario, unlock the value of TPK, and then go after other assets in Ontario where value can be unlocked with the right approach. So you see, it's a very different dynamic than what we're doing in Quebec versus Ontario. So that did justify a spin out, not a spin off. The difference being that we still owns a very large part of the company. So Northern Superior owns 72% of the company called On Gold in Ontario. That stands for Ontario Gold. And at some point, yeah, we'll see what we're going to be doing with that investment. You know, ultimately, either we can sell part of the block, we can distribute the shares to our shareholders, but don't expect that in the short term. The company needs to be a lot more mature before it can absorb that stock. So all in all, to say that the shareholders of Northern Superior will benefit from the success of On Gold as well. So a lot of activity in front of us.
On that note, we'll pass it up to the viewers as always. We'd love to know what you think in that comment section below. And consider subscribing as News Catalyst at The Wire, of course. We'll bring it to you here. But on that, we look forward to catching you in the next one.